Hello, friends, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Profit Able podcast. I think this might be episode 10. So we've got a whole 10 episodes in the bank. And I want to thank everyone who has taken time to listen and comment and like and share. If you are an Apple Podcast listener, you should be able to listen now on Apple Podcasts. And for those of you who are still on Spotify, thank you. And if you wanted to just click and leave a 5-star review, that'd be great. Anyway, today is not going to be super long. It's just me today. And I wanted to talk about something that really came to my attention last week. I had the honor of attending a conference on work last week. And that may sound like a big drudge, and I thought it was going to be. But it really turned out to be really interesting because it was talking about the changing landscape of work, especially here in the United States, but in all of the West, and about how we have all defined work according to titles and positions, and how work is actually, especially now with AI, transitioning to a period of skills. And so I think this really can carry over into a discussion of entrepreneurship really well, because entrepreneurship tends to fall into these broad categories. So I'm a coach, I'm a course creator, I am a consultant, I am a healer, all of those things. And there's a whole bunch more that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head because it's the end of the day and I'm tired. But within each of those really broad categories, there are so many different skills that are marketable. So you don't have to be a level 3 master Reiki healer and sound healer and energy healer in order to be in the healing space. You could do nothing but record sound bowls that you sell for a couple of bucks on Creative Market or somewhere as a digital download. And that can make you an entrepreneur. There are lots of people selling things like that and making crap tons of money. And who doesn't want crap tons of money? I certainly do, and I'm sure you do too. If you're a coach, now obviously there is a skill that is coaching, right? But you don't have to know everything about coaching relationships and coaching business and coaching careers and everything. Whatever you know, you can coach if you have some basic skills in coaching. So, for instance, I am labeled a business coach, but my skill is content design because that's what I know, that's what I do, and I'm really good at it. And so I don't try to be a social media manager coach. I don't try to be a accounting coach. I don't try to coach people on how to invest money in real estate or in the stock market or other investments, because that's not who I am. That's not what I know. I have a skill, and that skill is content design. And I think that as a society, especially those of us who, were programmed and raised to be employees for our whole life, there's been this idea that work is centered around these broader categories and these big job titles. So, my dad worked in insurance, and his last title was Senior Vice President in charge of West Coast operations. Okay, well, that's amazing. That encompassed a lot of different things. And I think that's kind of where we have always been, that you have to develop this plethora of abilities in order to be employable and in order to make really good money. And in the digital age, entrepreneurs don't have to have 600 different skills to be able to make money. And that's where I really wanted to put the emphasis today. You know, if you are a dog trainer, chances are you know how to do more than one thing with a dog. But if all you knew how to do was teach dogs how not to pull when walking on a leash, that would be an amazing skill. And you would make, again, a crap ton of money. Wonder how much a crap ton is. Huh. I don't know. Crap ton could be millions, could be multi-millions. I don't know. We'll think about that. What is the definition of crap ton? I'll have to ask for some opinions. If you have an opinion, feel free to comment. Anyway, you don't have to know how to teach dogs to do an agility course. You don't have to know how to teach reactive dogs to not be reactive anymore. That's a very specialized skill. And let me tell you, I'm paying for it right now. So it is a very specialized skill. If you are a social media expert, you don't have to know Facebook and X or Twitter or whatever we call it today, and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn. If you know one of those, crap ton of money. If you are someone who is musically inclined and you can teach people how to learn the basics of scales and simple songs on the piano, you don't have to be able to teach people to be concert pianists. That's all already enough to make you a bunch of money, a crap ton. And so as we look at our skills, as we look at our ability to promote ourselves as business owners, as people in the digital space trying to make money, then I want everybody to stop thinking that it is necessary to spend years and years of training and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in order to be able to successfully market a skill that people will pay for. Because the truth of the matter is the market is very big now. It is very big. And it will bear the pressure of many different skills. What it will not bear is the pressure of you trying to market a skill you don't honestly possess. And I'm sure if you're listening to my podcast, then you are not the type of person who would ever try to pass off expertise in something you don't have. So this is really for the ephemeral other that would never listen to this podcast episode. But let's just put it out there. If you are going to market something, you only need a skill, but that skill needs to be legit. And you really need to know it. And the reason you really need to know it is because in order to teach it, you have to be able to backwards design how you're going to teach it to somebody. So let's go back to the dog training thing. A, because I love dogs, and B, also because dog training is a really easy and very visible example. If you are the dog person who knows how to teach dogs not to pull on the leash, okay, that is the end result that you promise, is that at the end of whatever period of time, however many lessons, if people follow your process, their dog will no longer pull on the leash. That is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing, especially if you have an 85-pound golden retriever Bernese mountain dog mix that's around here somewhere. Yeah, beautiful thing. But you know, little dogs actually pull almost as bad, and then they will also trip you, which is even worse. But anyway, but if that's the result that you promise, that the dog will not pull on the leash when walked, then the question is, how many steps of teaching with the dog does it take to get there? Does the human handler need to learn specific skills before they start using those skills with the dog? And in what order does all of that have to fall for the final domino in the whole line of dominoes that falls to be the dog walking calmly at your side on the leash? And if you don't know that, if you don't know your skill set well enough to know exactly what steps have to be taken in order to get there, you're not ready to teach it yet. Now, you can get there and you can get there fairly quickly, but you're going to have to take some time, and you're probably going to have to work with a couple of people and say, hey, if you let me work my process out with you, I'll teach you what I know for free. I'll work with you until you get the result. And people will often say, absolutely, for free. I like free. Free is great. We all love free. But that's how you need to approach this if you don't actually know exactly what order of steps need to be taken for your skill to be replicatable. That's the word I'm looking for, replicatable, because you need to be able to guarantee that everyone who follows the steps in the order that you teach them and does what you tell them to is going to get the same result. And that's not really that hard. It sounds hard sometimes, especially when you're talking about less concrete things. A dog walking on a leash without pulling is a fairly concrete thing. Being able to tell people that you will reduce or eliminate their anxiety through some type of breath work or healing modality or meditation, that's a taller ask, because you need to be clear what causes of anxiety you can ameliorate. Don't know where I pulled that one out of, but yeah, ameliorate. Some people have social anxiety, and that probably stems from some different things than people who have like relationship anxiety, like they can't feel confident in a relationship, especially an intimate relationship, which then is probably different from people who are afraid of public speaking, which is probably different from people who are afraid to fly. Okay, all of those are different anxieties, and they may stem from similar things, similar root causes, or they may have different root causes. And you need to know that in order to be able to promise what you're going to promise. But the truth of the matter is, you probably already know, at least to some extent, because you wouldn't be teaching it, you wouldn't be coaching it, you wouldn't be thinking about making that promise to other people if you hadn't already done it for yourself. And that's the great thing about skills, is that when we have been able to do something for ourselves, then we feel so much better about being able to offer it to others. One of my skills, we'll call it a skill, is packing. And I'm not talking about like packing for a trip, because I hate packing me a suitcase. Someday they are going to invent a little AI generated robot that I'm going to be able to say, here's all the things I want to take, pack it all for me. And that's going to be done. I will love that. No, I'm talking about packing, like packing up your house to move, or packing a car for a trip, trying to fit a bunch of stuff in there. Okay, I am a genius. My children call me the puzzle master because I can fit everything in there. And that is a skill. Is it a marketable skill? Probably not, because I probably have to go do it with people, and God, that would be a pain. And also, like, the fact that I'm really good at it doesn't mean that I like it. I'm just really good at it. So there are things that you can do for yourself that may be less marketable than other things. But if you can cook, if you can organize, if you can create fun activities for children when they are home for the holidays coming up, home for the holidays. No, I can't sing. But if you can sing, if you can play an instrument, if you can help people see how they are sabotaging their relationships, if you are good at resume creation or at helping people prep for interviews, all of these are skills that are going to be saleable because they are replicatable. All right. So as we approach this lovely holiday season, there is going to be a special offer next week for Black Friday, because God knows we all need a chunk of Black Friday money, don't we? Black Friday and Cyber Monday. But as you are approaching the holidays, where some of us have time off and time to rest and relax and maybe think a little bit, if getting into the digital space is something that you're interested in, or if it's someplace you already are, but you're looking for another stream of income, think about specific skills that you can market versus big overarching banners that you need to earn credentials for. I'll say, you don't need to be a social media manager and all that implies in order to be able to teach someone how you got 50,000 organic followers on LinkedIn. Okay. Those are not the same. You don't have to be a concert pianist to be able to teach someone how to do scales and play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on the piano. You don't have to be let's see, what's another one? You don't have to be a French chef trained at Le Cordon Bleu in order to teach somebody how to make really tasty, low-fat desserts, okay? All of these are simplified skills that do not require the overarching title. And I think that this is a beautiful thing, because I hope that my kids, and maybe some of you who are a lot younger than I am, maybe not a lot, but younger than I am, will find that the job market and earning money as an adult is easier because we have this ability to distinguish the value of skill. And in fact, I'll throw you some stats that I learned at this conference on work last week before we go. 65% of children in elementary school today will work at jobs that do not exist yet. And AI will probably replace 50% of the work that we do now, but it will be replaced with more human-centered work. Because the one thing that we have not found a way to teach computers to act on our behalf yet, they are not capable of empathetic listening. They are not capable of constructive feedback, critical thinking in a way that is emotionally sensitive. There is, let's see, I've got some other, I wonder where my notes are. I don't think these are them. No, that's not them. But I will say, I also heard from someone at Amazon, actually, or was it Google? One of those two, one of the two biggies, that most 18 to 34-year-olds now will change jobs 24 times in their life. Now, that's not to say that they will change employers if they are an employee 24 times in their life, but they will change jobs, actual career paths, 24 times in their life. That's a lot. I mean, if you think about somebody working, let's say they work for 50 years, God, please let it not be 50 years. But if somebody works for 50 years and they change jobs 24 times, basically they are changing jobs every 2 years for that whole time. That's quite a bit. And so as we in the entrepreneurial space, and those of you who are employees, and there's nothing wrong with being an employee, I am still an employee in addition to what I do entrepreneurially. Whether you are an employee or whether you are an a CEO, a founder, the owner of a business, or both, there is a shift in our thinking that needs to happen. And that shift, my daughter's dog, sorry, that shift needs to focus on what we can offer the world that it needs today versus what we grind our wheels learning and struggling over and trying to reach mastery of in this giant position title that we are aspiring to, only to find that by the time we have all of those things mastered, that position doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So go out there and do something that elevates or exploits the skills that you already have, because you have something that someone else needs. And I know that. And I know that because you are here on this planet. If you are here and breathing above ground, then you have a purpose in life, and that purpose is probably to help someone with something. So find your skill, go out and either find a career that you really love that exploits that skill, or sell that skill to other people who don't have it. Because just like I am really good at content design, I'm really bad at singing. And so if I ever had the time, I would love to get a voice coach and learn how to sing better. That'll probably be a while, but that's something that I would really enjoy. So there are things that people need to learn, and there are things that people want to learn. And both of those can make you a crap ton of money. So find what'll make you a crap ton of money and go out there and do it, and be free and fly, my friends. We are going to end here, but I do want to encourage you all to like and share the podcast. And if you have podcast topics that you are really interested in, please DM me on Instagram at Terry Milroy Coaching, or you can find me on TikTok and DM me. I am Coach Terry 1 on TikTok. Yeah, I need to get those things to match up, but haven't done it yet. Anyway, have a wonderful week, and we will do our pre-Thanksgiving show next week. And I don't know what that's going to be yet, but we'll find out. Take care.